Personal injury claim process seems complicated, but it really boils down to these 4 essential stages. I'm going to explain them in plain English. Hi, I'm Mark Lopez. A common question I get is, what are the actual steps in a personal injury claim? Let's walk through the journey from the accident to a potential settlement. Number 1, the investigative phase. Every single personal injury case, slip and fall, dog bite, car crash, they all have an investigative phase. That's when we're talking to the clients, figuring out where they got medical treatment, how they were hurt. If it's car crash, we want the police report. But no matter what kind of injury, we want to talk to anybody else that might have been a witness. We love witnesses. We want to see photographs. We want to see any and all things related to the incident. Everybody has cell phones these days. We usually have video, pictures, anything you think would be helpful. That's what we want. And don't forget, this is an important part too, lost wages. Sometimes people forget in the investigative phase, we want to know how this impacted a person's life. And one of the easiest ways to figure that out is through lost wages. Yeah, we can also talk about missed vacations, going to a wedding with a broken arm. These are all things we see, but don't forget the little things. And that's part of the investigative process. The second phase is called the demand and negotiation phase. Essentially, when a person is done with medical treatment, we will obtain the medical records, we'll review the medical records, we'll review anything that we obtained in the investigative phase and put together what's called a demand. And we'll say, hey, listen, insurance company, your client hurt our client, and here is what we need to be made whole. We want compensation for our client's injuries, and we give that to them. Now, a lot of cases are resolved at this point through back and forth negotiation, and we'll frequently have to deal with medical providers, try to take care of bills and liens and everything like that. But usually this is where a lot of cases get resolved. Now, it's not possible to resolve all cases in the demand and negotiation phase. And if that happens, we can't reach an agreement, we go to the next phase, which is the lawsuit and discovery. In Indiana, for most injury claims, there's a 2-year statute of limitations, meaning you have to file a lawsuit within 2 years or you're out of luck, can't do anything about it. And so we want to do it well before then because we don't want it to run into issues later. So you want to do it as soon as possible, as soon as you know it's not going to get settled in the demand and negotiation phase. And the lawsuit sounds scary. It's a complaint, summons, appearance, filing fee, but there's other things that we have to be doing. It's called discovery, and that's interrogatories, question productions, depositions, oftentimes mediations. And these are all things that we're trying to actually settle the case even though a lawsuit has been filed. Sometimes filing a lawsuit simply gets a fresh set of eyes on a case on the opposing party and insurance company. And sometimes those fresh set of eyes see things maybe the adjuster did not before a lawsuit was filed. So at that phase, you'll typically be mediation, and then we're trying to get it worked out. If no settlement is reached in this phase, well, then there's going to be a trial. And a trial is just like you see on TV. In Indiana, you don't get 12 jurors, you get 6 plus an alternate. And it's kind of cool. Opening statements, jury selection, closing arguments, presentation of evidence, doctors are coming. It's really fun to do trials. However, getting to trial takes a very long time. And we recognize that most of our clients would rather not have to go to trial because it's a little bit scary if you don't do it every day. I get that. But those are the 4 phases of an injury claim. Now, this is pretty much a gloss over the main 4 phases, but there's lots of little parts inside each one of those, but that's an overview. Just trying to make it simple. Now, there are lots of ways attorneys mess this up, and don't settle for an attorney that just does a little bit of personal injury law because they're going to make a big mess out of your case. You don't want that. Now, here at the Mark Lopez Law Firm, we have a dedicated injury team that does nothing but injury. And if you've been hurt, we would love to talk to you. Our number is 317-632-3642. And remember, the insurance company, they're not your friend, but I can be. Give us a call.